Oh, welcome back to Let's Play. Right there, I'm in school. Don't know why I'm talking like that. Man, that dickhead's still outside. I wonder what that says. Any of you is any good at Korean and can translate it? It's probably something generic like pharmaceutical supplies or medication, blah. It'd be funny if it literally was just translate to blah. 125 milligrams, 105 milligrams. I mean, what kind of meds are we looking at here? Oh yeah. Oh, you better not come back through there. Because I kind of need to do something around here. Just cautiously backing away. Should be in this room. Oh, while we're here, is there any of these we can open? Probably not. Because they're chairs. It's like, why are you being quiet? It's like, because I'm just like, can I hear the jingling of keys or not? Trying to pay attention to the surroundings a little. How can you not open that one? It's like, nah, the chair though. But the chair's freaking way away from it. Remember those? Because I don't. Oh, wait. Yeah. Fuck, I can't remember. Not sure. I remember this guy was all the way over here. I imagine these are their names, but it's in Korean. Not that it make a difference. I don't know who any of these people are. Are they even real people? I don't know. I remembered that there was like, I think this guy might have been here. Maybe these two were, no. Maybe this guy was over here, and this guy was over here. No, this guy was over here. Maybe I don't have a clue. I think I remember seeing this guy's face towards the left. I don't remember this guy's face being specifically here. Maybe it was. I don't know. It's hard to remember, you know. Yeah, that's not happening unless I freaking can, you know what the solution is. Trouble is, I only really looked at it at one time, and now there's a few parts to you. I mean, I could just get that part up and just look at it, but two reasons I won't do that. One, can't be arsed, and two, you know, opening up programs while using the capture card probably screw up the recording a little bit. At least that's how I assume it goes. You know, the more programs you have running at any given time, the more likely the recording is to go to shit. It's gone further upstairs, that sounds good. Which is good. It means I might have a decent chance of getting back there when I come back there. That janitor may not be spawned directly in front of me here. I've just realized I didn't even have the microphone facing the right way then. God knows how my commentary is going to sound there. Okay. We need to go downstairs. He better not come through this way. Can't really see him anywhere. There's the pictures on the wall. Okay, bald guy was next to old guy. I knew those two guys with the hats were side by side, but I didn't realize bald guy was on this side. I thought he was on that side for some reason. I was remembering wrong. Right, this is the puzzle that we solved in the previous parts. We found that the combination is... That's a lot of turning we have to do there. That's... Oh, wait. Okay, it's in a different order to how I thought. Essentially, it's 2C. Let's just package up again. You didn't even appear on the screen, woman. This one was a plane. And... where is it? Oh, wait, no, that... Oh, yeah, it's different ones, isn't it? That was the one. There we go. What an odd puzzle. Ghost Stories, the Impassable Bridge. Although it was early in the morning, the whole school was filled with an uneasy buzz. Hee-min, a student, was found unconscious in the hallway. This particular hallway was the passageway between the main building and the new building, and it was rarely used. Essentially, it's the building that connects the two, obviously. And if you recall, before we got the bells, it pretty much became an impassable bridge, so that ghost is related to this story. I've only just really starting to realize that all these ghost stories are pretty much ghost stories of the school itself. Like, all of them kind of just based around this very school, rather than just being, different ghost stories. They're all connected to the same school, same location. It was built with an interesting design that puzzled all those who set eyes on it. Its purpose was to be a bridge that connects one building to another, but it was shaped like a tunnel with fluorescent lighting, but not one window. It's made it seem creepy even during the daytime. What's more, getting to the other building wasn't a straight path, but instead twisted and turned. All of that combined made fear and few students use the walkway, and the less that people use it, the more creepy the rumors about it became. One rumor said that while walking down the passageway, it felt like walking into a cave. There were sounds of footsteps either behind you or coming from the front. Either way, you'd never see anyone there. Another rumor said that if you enter this hallway in the middle of the night, you will never get to the other building, but instead get lost in a labyrinth named School. No, labyrinth of corridors until the break of dawn. The night before the accident took place, Hee-min told his friends that he didn't believe in such a bogus story. Being teenagers, they dared Hee-min to prove himself. So Hee-min and his friends came to school in the middle of the night. The test Hee-min was given simply seemed simple. He only had to go through the passageway, get to the other building, and bring back an object from a classroom. Hee-min wasted no time beginning this easy venture and quickly opened the door to the passageway. He disappeared into the darkness and the door shut behind him. When Hee-min was alone, he realized it was scarier than he had imagined. The passageway was without a single window, and all he could see were the small patches of light like islands in a pitch-black sea. Hee-min shivered and began to regret making this bet with his friends. When the sound of his footsteps echoed loudly in the empty hallway, it felt like something from the darkness would come running out at him at any second. Hee-min gathered together what courage he had left and started walking as fast as he could. That's when something passed by him and lightly brushed his neck, making a metallic sound. His hair stood on end. He felt like something was right behind him. Was he hearing things? He thought he also heard faint laughter. Hee-min clenched his teeth, bravely turned around. Nothing was there except a completely empty hallway in darkness. Hee-min, who had been scared to death, was a bit relieved. Until right at that moment he heard a whisper. "What are you doing here?" Terrified, Hee-min ran as fast as he could, screaming. It didn't matter how fast or how far he ran. He would never be able to make it to the building on the other side. At last, Hee-min suffered a panic attack and was knocked into unconsciousness. His friends, after waiting for a long time, all returned home. Wait, what? Suffered a panic attack and was knocked into unconsciousness. Or does he mean knocked out from the ghost or the panic attack? Which is it? I mean, I've had panic attacks and I don't recall ever being knocked out by one. I mean, is that even a possibility to happen if it's extreme enough? Everyone was worried for Hee-min, yet no one suggested going to look for him. So that's how Hee-min was found laying unconscious on the passageway the next day. From that day on, the students have called this passageway the Impassable Bridge, or the Labyrinth. Named School! That's that ghost story. Pretty neat. We don't actually see the ghost itself in the game at all, but in the main menu, like, at the start, when you start the game, if you go into the ghost list from there, each ghost story has an accompanying ghost next to it to represent the ghost from the ghost story. Most of them you see in game, but you don't see this one in the game. Essentially, it's represented as kind of like a fox girl spirit of sorts. And I guess the bells are related to how you ward that kind of spirit off. How did I overlook this tracker light? Or did I just not come in? Well, I came in here once, didn't I? But I guess I didn't thoroughly look around properly. Pretty sure I looked in here, though. He's outside there. God damn it. Oh, yeah, they can only open the one. Have I opened this? I think there was a note in there, wasn't there? So, gotta keep in mind that the old guy, bald guy, hat guys, and not hat guy. In that specific order. With glasses, hat guy, I think he's wearing glasses, being the one in the middle. And the question is, did he go through there or there? Oh, it's weird. One of the ghost stories, or at least one of the notes anyway, referenced this room, but you don't really find a ghost story or anything in there. Okay, he's not here. He's going back through there. I think it was in here. No, is it? Yeah, here it is. That's where that comes into play. Oh wait, I don't think we've got all of them actually, so this might not work. Yeah, oh wait, no, it worked. Something fell down. Yes, we did have all of them, but it looked like we didn't there though, didn't it? Ghost story number 15, the kid in the corner. So he had always been terrified of bugs. Ever since she was young, she especially found spiders the most repulsive of all. I guess that's where the spider comes into play for solving this puzzle then. Her school, high school, was an old building that was built at the base of a mountain. So naturally there was lots of bugs and spiders. She was always very stressed because of this. You know what? Where the fuck did the ghost story even come from? Did he just fall out of the sky? Well, not the sky, from the ceiling? Where did it come from? We just put weights on it and then it just kind of appeared. Or was I just not paying attention? Or did it really just appear out of nowhere? That's why she was so happy to begin her senior high. Unlike the first 2 years of high school, her classrooms this year were located in the new building. Since it's new, she expected there would be no bugs, and that she would be able to attend her classes carefree. On the first day, there was a strange girl in her class. The girl gave her the creeps because her long hair covered most of her face, so he could not recall ever seeing her at school before. The weird girl's face was so unfamiliar it made her doubt if she was really a student at her school. But if she's got long hair that covers most of her face, how would you know that she's got a weird face, or an unfamiliar face, rather? She always sat in a corner, away from others, and hardly ever moved. She wouldn't even get up during breaks or lunchtime. For some reason, so he couldn't help but be bothered by her. One hot summer day, unable to concentrate in class, so he snuck a glance at the weird girl. What she saw completely shocked her. The girl was chewing on him off. Startled, so he turned to look at the bug-eating girl again, but this time she saw nothing out of the ordinary. So he thought that she must have been seeing things because of the blazing hot day. Then the girl saw a knowing smirk. It creeped her out so much that she became terrified of her. After that, the creepy girl stopped coming to school, so he was bothered by her sudden disappearance at first. As time passed on in peace, she forgot about her. One day while on her way home, so he realized that she left something at school, so she went back to get it. Just moments before the school was filled with the sounds of students leaving, but now it was quiet as the grave, so he entered the classroom and turned on the light. There were nothing but empty desks and chairs inside, just as it should be, so he went to her desk to retrieve what she had forgot. Where she spotted something black swaying in the back of the classroom out of the corner of her eye. So he squinted her eyes, taking a closer look at what was hanging. When she realized what she was looking at, she froze in terror. She slowly raised her eyes. She could follow the long curtain of black hair up to the body of the creepy girl, who had disappeared. The girl was clinging to the ceiling, her limbs twisted at inhuman angles. She looked like a spider perched on its web, preparing to pounce on its prey. Spotting Sohee, the spider girl scuttled quickly across the ceiling towards the petrified Sohee. The girl's long black hair shot out like a spider web, wrapping around Sohee and pulling her up. The lights flickered twice, then the classroom went dark. One long, terrified scream echoed through the halls before it was abruptly cut off. No one ever saw Sohee again after that day. The spider that used to hang in the corner of the classroom was missing too. Well, that's creepy, but doesn't really make sense at the same time. It's like, oh, she was never seen again. It's like, you're not going to question it or anything. That's basically the girl that we saw that would creep on the ceiling in the classrooms if we hadn't put the lights on in the right order. Which is, neat, but what's annoying is, because how freaking dark the bloody freaking recording looked, you could barely see it, so you couldn't really get the whole creepy movement of it. It really did look pretty creepy the way, like, if you take one step into the classroom after it spawns, she literally crawls unnaturally on the ceiling quite quickly towards you. It's creepy. Unfortunately, the recording kind of made it so that you could barely see her. So, what now? What now indeed? I guess we should probably go back and get that puzzle solved as well, now that I know the solution to it. Lighter will brighten a limited area of adolescent gender. Sounds like that should say the lighter and not just lighter, Doesn't sound like how you'd start the sentence there. Wonder if running around here is gonna alert that asshole janitor. Would not be entirely surprised. I mean, look at the layout of this place. It really is odd, isn't it? I mean, who designed this bloody hallway? It's like, well, duh, the game designers. Yeah, but I mean, if we're looking at it realistically, what kind of freaking architect designs a hallway like this? So, where was it? It's in the faculty office. This is not the faculty office. Or is it? Oh, it was the students' apartment room, actually. No, it wasn't. Fuck, what room was... Oh, it was on the first floor, wasn't it? Whoopsie daisy. Hopefully he's still on the third or fourth floor, so we shouldn't have to worry about him. Strolling on by to the puzzle with pictures of these. I suppose they're probably with the headmasters, I don't know. You go over here, sir. You go here, and you go here. Something fell down. From where, though? 20, the missing children. Ah, this is the granny one. This is the one that has that grandma that stopped her. Like, where do you think you're going, sonny? On that walkway. This is one of the creepier ones. Here's story number 20, the missing children. Young Jai was heading home really late after a school club activity. He belonged to the Mystery Research Club. They collected and studied all kinds of rumors, myths, and urban legends. The collection was not only from their own school, but from every city around. Lately, he was working on sorting through contents for their sporadically published club magazine. At a busy time like this, the club's president was nowhere to be seen. Due to his absence, Young Jai, as vice president, had to do everything himself. That was the reason why he was heading home so late. Still preoccupied with his work, he was thinking about the magazine even while he was crossing the bridge. Just then, somebody spoke to him. "Hello, dearie, I'd like to ask you something." It was a kind and warm-looking grandma. That's exactly what she'd said that one time. I mean, she said, "Hello, dearie," or "sweetie," or something like that, wouldn't she? It was a kind and warm-looking grandma who approached. Her chignon hairstyle and her bent back reminded Jai-hun of his own grandma in the countryside. Right before he was going to answer her, he suddenly paused and wondered, why was this old lady at school at this late hour? In that moment, he recalled a ghost story that he had investigated a while back. I mean, what is this, like a ghost story within a ghost story? The building of Y High School was erected in the occupation era. Well, actually, if you think about it, it's a ghost story within a ghost story within a ghost story. So, this is a ghost story about a ghost story that's about a ghost story. That's three different... well, it's all connected, but still, you get the idea. That just sounds confusing, doesn't it? Anyway, in that moment of the ghost story that he had investigated a while back, the building of Y High School was erected in the occupation era and was used as a refugee camp during the Korean War. In the refugee camp, there were lots of orphans who had lost their parents in the midst of war. Since the situation was so grim, no one really had the luxury of worrying about these kids. Then, some grandma took these orphans under her wing and took care of them. The kids depended on her and got along with her well. The people didn't suspect anything of this grandma. Then one day the grandma and the orphans suddenly disappeared. The refugees thought it was strange, but as if they had previously agreed, they kept silent about it. It was a time where such things happened. A short while after that, a woman came to the camp. She was the mother of one of the orphans. This woman went through so much to find the whereabouts of her child, and was finally here to reunite with them. When she heard the disappearance of her child, she wailed with despair. The refugees, who felt a little guilty about not having done anything about the disappearance of the orphans, were finally moved to action by the woman's heart-wrenching cries. Led by a former hunter, a few refugees decided to help the woman and search for the missing orphans. They followed the trail of the children up into the mountain. What trail would they have found? Like, maybe like stuff the kids owned, just scattered around random places? When they got halfway up, they found an old run-down hut. They were greeted with a rotting stench of corpses inside the hut, and found the hut was full of small white bones, which seemed relatively fresh. We said that they never found the old grandma. Jung Hee, is that like Hansel and Gretel stuff going on there? It's Jung Jai couldn't figure out why he had suddenly remembered that ghost story. Feeling spooked, he kept his mouth shut. Maybe it was the old traditional dress that the grandma was wearing. The old grandma who was pressing on Jung Jai was, with her question, slowly revealed herself, and her face twisted and turned into the face of a demon's. From her dark and empty eye sockets, a red light gleamed. She mumbled as she smacked her lips, "So close, what a pity." The next thing he knew, he was waking up at his desk. He must have fallen asleep while sorting out the materials. Still, it seemed all too real to be just a dream. On the paper in front of him was a warning from the material he was reading right before he fell asleep. Never answer her questions. And he did just that, because he was gobsmacked. He's like, what? He couldn't say anything. So he didn't get eaten by the ghost grandma demon. So yeah, that was a pretty nice one. Nice as in, creepy, not nice as in, yeah, that was a pleasant thing, wasn't it? Definitely one of the creepier ones. You know what, should I 27 minutes in. Let's go back to the main building one. Maybe not to actually accomplish anything, or maybe it might. I do. Actually, yeah, I could do that. It's like, do what? Well, you'll see when we get to it. I could get one of the other ghost stories right now as well, but, time. Where are we on the map? The first floor, so we just need to go all the way down here. I think it's down there. That's the starting area, isn't it? So we just need to go down there, hopefully not run into the janitor along the way, and all will be peachy keen and we can get something out of this. It's like I really should, go to the rooftop on the in the new building before doing all this, because there's gonna be more backtracking, because I'll need more keys and stuff. So it's gonna be a little annoying. It's for these things the small keys are for. Oh, actually, yeah, I could do that as well if the janitor, isn't around. Also, this. Let's get this sorted. Yeah, that's what you need that for. And documents. Oh my god, it's another ghost story. I didn't realize. Ghost story number 3. Boy kills girl. G. Shaw, a new transfer student of White High School, had recently heard a horror story about the school from a classmate. So, of course, of all the nights, the night he had come back to school to grab something he left was a stormy night. The quiet pouring of the rain reminded him too much of the scary story. Only a few years before, there was a student named Ji. She was dating a boy named Myung Ho, who shared the same homeroom with her during the first 2 years of school. When they were in the senior year, they were assigned to different homerooms, and Ji Hai began dating Ho Young, who was in the same homeroom as her. Myung Ho could not accept such a sudden breakup after dating Ji Hai for 2 years. He tried multiple times to go see her and plead his case, but Ji Hai completely ignored him, growing more resentful with each rejection. Myung Ho began to hate Ji Hai. One day, Myung Ho decided to go see Ji Hai one last time in her homeroom during lunch break. Ji Hai, just like all the other times before, was cold and cruel and ignored his pleas. Enraged, Myung Ho took out his knife he had brought with him. Of course, he wasn't planning on hurting her. He wanted to mend his wounded ego by watching her tremble. That's a bit... I mean, What is with the freaking ghost stories here? Remember the old story that had a similar thing? It's like, his ego was bruised, so he ended up killing her. I mean, unintentional, but still. Well, this one is kind of like he just wants to scare the shit out of her. Because his wounded ego. Seeing her finally acknowledge him, however, Ji-hai knew him all too well. She knew that even though he acted tough, he was just a narrow-minded, scared little boy. Seeing that his desperate attempt with the knife made him so repulsive that she became angry at him. She called him names and taunted that he would never have the guts to actually use the knife. You know, unwritten rule, I'd imagine, when it comes to something like this. If you're being threatened with any weapon, don't fucking taunt the person holding the weapon. Be like, you don't have the balls. Because maybe they really don't have the balls. Or maybe they secretly have the balls. Maybe they had the balls all along and were like, well, I was going to go for it anyway. Or maybe they were very hesitant and you just gave them the last ammunition they needed to actually freaking stab you. Then you're a complete fucking idiot. Alas, her taunting worked. Myung-ho, momentarily blinded by rage, swung his knife and stabbed Ji-hai. Ji-hai fell to the ground, her blood running across the entire floor. Myung-ho, scared and confused by the scene, went berserk. Due to Myung-ho slashing his knife crazily around him, no one dared to go near Ji-hai. They could only watch from afar as she bled out. Since that day, there are said to have been sightings of a female ghost lying down on the floor as if asleep. Ah, that's that ghost we encountered 3 times that was on the floor. And then when we finally encountered her for the last time, she was like, Meow! That was her ghost. Ji-shab tried to block the story from his mind when he reached the classroom. When he opened the door, though, his efforts were in vain and he tripped, falling backwards in terror. He saw a girl lying on the ground in the dark, like she was fast asleep. So, I got a bit confused with the names there. So, who was Ji-shab? Was that the guy she was dating after she broke up with the other guy? Shab. Whatever your name's pronounced as. Shab. Oh no, that was just a new transfer student who'd heard the story. Fair enough. Can I not close it? I must close it. It's only... No. Well, maybe I can't close it now because I've got that. Well, this is the longest part so far, but fuck it. Might as well show you how the keys work as well. I won't actually use them, but I will put them together. This is the machine. So if you combine a red and a yellow, you get... Wait, love is merely madness. Combine key, red plus yellow. Combination of 2 keys from a key combining machine. Red plus yellow. It looks like you can open a small lock. I don't know, maybe I should see if it'll open one of them. Maybe it's for this one even. Is it? Nope, it isn't for that one. It's different combinations will open different ones. They're all kind of scattered around this building. Only in main building 1. There's none in main building 2, and obviously none in the new building. It'd make it tedious having to switch between the keys and all that, wouldn't it? It's not for this one either. God damn it, really? Of all the bloody key combinations, it had to be that, didn't it? There's one, I think. The other one is on the 2nd floor. And I can't be asked with that shit, so let's just save the game. So I last recorded on the 30th. It is now the 5th of October. So not nearly as long in between recordings as last time, but whatever. With that... Oh, it was triangle that opens the map. Whatever. With that, I shall see you next time, viewers. See you next time.